My guest at this time is Jeanne Ives. She's a former Illinois state representative who is now running for Congress in her state's 6th Congressional District. She's a Republican hoping to unseat Democrat Sean Casten, who won the seat in 2018. And Jeanne, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me on, Greg.
Well, the first job of any challenger is to explain why there needs to be a change. So why should the voters in the 6th District of Illinois fire Sean Casten?
Sean Casten went to Congress and said that he was going to get things done, and actually he's gotten nothing done. So there's really multiple reasons that he needs to go. One is the people in this district are very savvy, and they want government to work just like they work hard in their business every day and solve problems. They think government should do the same. So we need health care affordability. We need better patient choice. We need college affordability. We need solutions on border security. All these things need to be solved, and they know that Sean Casten's getting nothing done. He has become one of an honorary member of the squad up there, quite frankly, and he's more intent on impeaching Donald Trump than anything else. That is actually his primary goal, and he's been an obstructionist. He's the last person that we need up there representing the 6th Congressional District.
Well, let's talk about the 6th District just a little bit. This seat had been in Republican hands for a very long time. That's the seat Henry Hyde used to have, and I don't remember him having a lot of close races. Then after he retired, Peter Roskam had the seat for quite a few years until he was defeated by Sean Casten last year. How has the district changed? What issues matter most to voters there?
Well, I don't know that the issues that have changed much that matter most to voters. I think, again, voters want government to work for them and with transparency and correctness, and they want balanced budgets here and things like that. But the demographics have definitely shifted in this district. It was initially, obviously, a very gerrymandered district, was supposed to be largely Republican. And because Illinois has lost such great population over the last 5 years, you have seen a demographic movement of conservatives and Republicans and independents, and actually Democrats too, moving out of the district and other folks moving in. So it's become less Republican over time, as the state has as well. So you've had that demographic shift, but we believe that it's still largely people with a lot of common sense who expect government to abide by certain things like fiscal responsibility. And that's why we see an opportunity here. Sean Casten, of course, voted for that bloated 2-year budget that blew through any of the caps that were set in place to keep spending down. It's well over $340 billion out of bounds. Sean Casten has said he wants to repeal the tax cuts from 2017, so he's all for higher taxes. Sean Casten supports a new tax in the state of Illinois, too, the graduate income tax, which would be terrible for this district that tends to have higher income earners. So he's just the wrong solution. He's in favor of the Green New Deal and everything that stands for. He would take away your private health insurance. So he is the wrong prescription for this district, and we're going to make sure that people understand the policy choices before them next year.
Jeanne Ives explained why you believe Sean Casten doesn't deserve another term. Why are you the right candidate to replace him in Washington?
Because I listen to the representatives, and I don't necessarily listen to leadership, and I have a proven track record of that. So a lot of when I served in the Illinois General Assembly, I served in the super minority and the minority, which means I had to get bipartisan support on my bills. And most of my best legislation came from the constituents that I served. They came forward to me and said, you know what, government's kind of in the way here, or this isn't working right, and really we need legislative changes to make things work better. And so I listened to them, put bills in place, and actually brought those bills to the House floor, got a vote on them. And in some cases, they were voted unanimously out of the House and the Senate and became law. That's because I worked on real issues that impacted all people, and it didn't matter what political stripe they were. That's why I'm the right representative. I actually listen to the people and take their ideas. I'm truly a representative to them in government. And you know what? I'm interested in problem solving. I'm not interested in obstructing and endless investigations over something that should have been decided. Like the Mueller report was a very definitive example of, what we investigated, we found nothing, and they still want to impeach Trump.
We're talking with Jeanne Ives, former Illinois Republican state representative, now running for Congress in the 6th Congressional District in Illinois. And just jumping off what you said there a moment ago, Jeanne, your ability to work effectively, even with a distinct minority in the House of Representatives for Republicans in the state of Illinois, unless there's a major shift back to the Republicans in Washington, if you were to win this seat, there's a pretty good chance you'd still be in the minority in Washington. And as you know, there's not a lot of power in the minority there. So explain how similar you think it would be to get things done as a member of the minority party in Washington as opposed to Springfield.
I work on issues that are common to everybody. I think everybody wants, I think we haven't looked at college affordability, quite frankly. I think that's an issue that runs the gamut between independent Republican, Democrat. I think everybody's concerned about how do we afford to send our kid to college, or how do we get them that best job? How do we get them into a trade school, whatever it is? Nobody's touched that, and I plan on working across the aisle to make that happen as well. I'll do it the same way that I did in Springfield. I'll talk about the policy choices and stay away from the personalities. But people need to understand, this is the most unreasonable, unserious Congress we have ever elected. Look, if they're not trying to ban your red meat, they want to take away your red hat. I mean, that's where they are. And they're vitriolic about it. And they play the identity politics. I mean, honestly, you have Pressley up there basically saying, look, if you're going to come to the political table and you have aspirations for running for office, if you're not prepared to come to the table and represent a voice that she says needs to be represented, like if you're brown, you have to represent a brown voice. They play identity politics time and time again. If you're Muslim, you have to represent a Muslim voice. These are her words verbatim. These people are putting in identity politics into policy choices all the time, and that's un-American. That's not who we are. We're going to tamp down that, too. So there's two reasons for me to go to D.C. One is to actually provide solutions to real problems that affect people. But number two, it's literally to stand up against the complete nonsense that the Democrats are spewing. Serious nonsense. Really? You think the world is coming to an end in 10 or maybe it's 12 years? And now you want to rearrange the entire economic engine of not only the state of Illinois, but the entire United States because you don't believe in fossil fuels? These people are crazy. And I say to them, you first. You go put string up the laundry clothesline in the backyard, and you first don't use your dryer. You first don't use your AC. Get rid of your SUV. These people they're absolutely not solution-oriented at all. And they are more than willing to put us all through a nightmare of policy choices that will do nothing to solve our problems.
Jeanne, last question, and you've already alluded to this a number of times with the fact that you believe the Democrats are not serious and that they are focusing all on investigations and not actually working on solutions to problems that the American people have. It would appear at this point anyway that most of the oxygen, whether it's at the presidential race level, Senate, House, whatever, is going to be all about Trump. So when you have all these issues you want to focus on, but most of the oxygen's on Trump, how do you break through that?
Well, first of all, we need a congressional majority to come back and play because at least for the first 2 years of the Trump presidency, we were able to get some things done on regulatory reform, on at least putting in place a USMCA, which still Pelosi has not passed and put up for a vote so it can actually be enacted. But he actually went to the table and started to negotiate that. It's all approved by both Mexico and Canada. So if we have a working majority on our side, we will get some done on the regulatory reform, on health care reform that's meaningful, on college affordability that's meaningful, on securing the border, which everybody is in favor of. So I think that, the people are going to wake up. I think Trump's going to win in 2020 because when you look at the presidential field, they're all just, hey, let's all raise our hand and say that illegal immigrants get immediate health care insurance when they cross the border. Nobody's in favor of that. So I think that Trump's going to win in 2020. I think we're going to have a congressional majority, and I think that we're going to put Illinois or continue to put every American onto a path for prosperity. And so I'm excited about that.
Jeanne, where can folks find you online?
They can connect with us at jeanneforcongress.com, and you can read in the news section essentially all these issues that we just talked about. We're putting out press releases about it and doing interviews with the media about it, and you can hear more and read more there.
Fantastic. Jeanne, thanks very much for your time. We'll be following the race.
Thanks for having me on, Greg.
You bet. Jeanne Ives, former Illinois Republican state representative, now running for Congress in her state's 6th congressional district. I'm Greg Corombos reporting for Radio America.